Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. In the run-up to Easter, we are looking at some of the key characters in the Easter story, the Easter people. And yesterday we looked at Pontius Pilate, and today we're looking at Caiaphas, the high priest. Now, make no mistake, these are real historical people we're talking about here. In fact, archaeologists believe they have discovered the grave in Jerusalem of Caiaphas. It has his full name inscribed on it, Joseph ben Caiaphas, and he was high priest for 18 years. In fact, his father-in-law, Annas, had been the high priest for 9 years before him. And there were other relatives came after him. So they'd really got this thing stitched up as a family business. In fact, in Acts chapter 4, after the healing of the lame man at the temple gate called Beautiful, Peter and John were hauled up in front of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council, including Caiaphas and including his father-in-law, Annas. And Annas is still referred to in Acts as the high priest, even though he hadn't been high priest for many years, in the same way that people still talk about President Clinton or President Obama or President Trump, even when they're not president anymore. Now, think about Caiaphas. 18 years as high priest, 18 years of having the greatest privilege in humanity when it comes to contact with God at that point in history. 18 years of being the one person in the world who could go into the Holy of Holies on the Day of Atonement, one day in the year, and come right into the place where God dwelt. Imagine that. 18 years in a row. This man is able to get closer to God according to all the Jewish religious law than anybody else on the face of the planet. And yet, he couldn't recognize God when God incarnate as Jesus Christ stood in front of him. You know, Caiaphas really is a religious politician, a religious schemer. After Lazarus was raised from the dead, the Jewish council met together, the Sanhedrin, and they tried to work out how they could get rid of Jesus, because they reckoned that all the kerfuffle he was causing was going to make the Romans crack down heavily on the Jews and possibly destroy the temple and destroy the nation. And when they had that meeting after the raising of Lazarus, Caiaphas said, "It is better for one person to die for the people than that all the people be destroyed." And he thought he was just talking about getting rid of Jesus so that the Romans wouldn't destroy the Jews. But as John notes, he was actually speaking prophetically in a way that he didn't imagine. God did want one person to die so that all the people, not just the Jews, but everybody that would call upon the name of the Lord, would be saved. And then when we get into the following week of the actual week following Palm Sunday, in Matthew 26, Jesus is brought again to be interrogated, and this time he's brought to Caiaphas's own palace. And it says, "The high priest said to him, 'I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God.' 'You have said so,' Jesus replied, 'but I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven.' And then the high priest, that's Caiaphas, tore his clothes and said, 'He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you've heard the blasphemy. What do you think?' 'He is worthy of death,' they answered. And then they spat in his face and struck him with their fists. And others slapped him and said, 'Prophesy to us, Messiah. Who hit you?'" This religious schemer, Joseph ben Caiaphas, has the effrontery to shout about blasphemy and then commit the greatest blasphemy ever in the history of the universe by having his henchmen slap the face of the Son of God, spit in the face of God. Truly, he shouted about blasphemy, but he committed the greatest blasphemy of all in his efforts to get rid of Jesus. And you know, the great thing is that it didn't work. Because later on in Acts chapter 4, after the day of Pentecost and after Peter and John healed that lame man, Peter and John are brought up in front of the Sanhedrin, including Annas and including Caiaphas. And they don't know what to say to them because they can see that these men have been with Jesus, and they realize that their scheming and plotting to get rid of Jesus has only released the church into witnessing and sharing the gospel on the face of the earth. And I want to tell you, all the religious power plays and scheming and everything else, all the cover-ups of scandals and everything else, you know what? They don't work, because God's name will be exalted. And even in the face of the worst blasphemy ever, the name of Jesus is still exalted and praised. Thank you for joining us for this Take 5. Please join us again tomorrow for another 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda, in which we will continue to look at the Easter people.